Hey everybody, it's Tuesday. That means it's time for another Casual Tuesday, and I am your host, Lonk the Sane. So good to have you back with us once again. Now, a lot of the decks I play on Casual Tuesday have been more aggro decks. They tend to be more budget friendly, but today I'm going to change things up a bit. Let's go for a little more of a mid-range type of build here, while still being very budget friendly. This is red-green mid-range. I think it's a very underrated mid-range type of build. And we're not going to be doing anything too fancy here. We've got a lot of red-green good stuff here. We have 3 mythic rares in this deck. One, of course, is going to be the Fated Firebird. Some of the multi-color cards in this game are kind of meh, but this one is actually very, very good because it's agile, it can get around our opponent's minions, and it also just bounces back to our hand, much like the Born Again does, except we have to pay 2 life to do it, but hopefully that won't be too much of a factor. We also have 7 Ring Ritual, one of the best closers in the game. If you're able to get this onto the board when your opponent doesn't have much, oftentimes they just don't have an answer for it. You can run them over very quickly. And the other mythic rare in here is Cerberus Unchained. This is a card that I think it's kind of underrated. If you only put 1 blocker in front of it, it's still getting in for 6 damage and it has 9 health, so it can take a beating. So very big, very tough, and if left unchecked, can get through. We also have a couple Cyclopean Giants. That's another big beater if it goes unchecked. It can get through for a lot of damage. And we also have 3 copies of Frecky Huntress. That's another card, especially against aggro decks, that can be very tough for them to deal with. Especially like, the orange decks, which like to play a lot of lower health minions. Especially, red-orange midrange, which has the rush package. It has the recruits. Frecky can be tricky to deal with without some direct removal. And speaking of removal, we have a couple of Extract Lives. We have a couple of Firesong Prodigies to give us Ignition. We also have 1 copy of Crimson Pact. And we have a couple of Detains for green as well to bounce stuff. So all in all, we're playing some good solid cards in here. Our strength is going to be in our mid-game turns 4, 5, and 6 when you have things like Cyclopean Giant, Wings of Abaddon, or Gamune and Volclov Heavy. Around turn 4, 5, 6 is when we'll hopefully start to be able to take over the game, just kind of outclass their minions. So all in all, not too bad. Only 3 mythic rares in here. But let's see how this does. Now, we have played a couple red-green shells on here before, but they've both been Reanimator decks. This is the first non-red-green Reanimator in here. I think it's kind of an underrated combination of colors because there's a very nice mix of minions and spells in here. With the green, you kind of get the tempo-y type spells. You're able to get card draw. You have cards like Detained. For red, you get some removal and things like Extract Life. So we'll see how this fares. All right, we got our first match. Let me turn the sound up. Free Cornwallis is our opponent. All right, this is serviceable. Oh, we have a rewind hex. That'll be really good. So let's play out. What do I want to burn? I think the Wake Bones can go. I'm not going to be able to use that for a while yet. Let's do that. Let's get our Grinning Kolobok. And let's pass the turn. So some kind of rainbow deck. Whenever I see blue and rainbow, I think Valkyries. No, it looks like blue-red. Alright, so it's blue-red rush. There goes our Kolobok. Not going to get any value out of it. Oh well. And turn 2. Well, I was kind of hoping they put something on that enchantment. But we burned a green card, so we can't play the Fire Song, so... Just... do I want both of them? I think I kind of do. I think I'm just going to burn the Cerberus here. It's going to be a while before we can play that. We need the mana. Let's pass the turn. So we're going to take a hit from the Trapezes here, and then I think next turn I'll burn another red. Put Fire Song in front of it. Yep, that's something we definitely want ignition later on. And what do I want to burn for red? I think one of the Cyclopean Giants can go. I think I'm going to want both Fire Song Prodigies. So we'll put the Fire Song Prodigy here. So if they want to trade with their Trapezes, that's fine. Next turn it's going to be burn something green. We can play out the other Fire Song. And we can bounce their Frecky Huntress back into their hand. Make a nice little tempo play. Alright, they're going to give for a little bit of damage. But we'll make the trade. Okay, so I think what we do is we burn a green. Gamayun can go. Put the Fire Song over here, get another ignition. And we'll bounce this Frecky Huntress. Put the enchantment on top of their deck. Bye-bye. And say go. Right, that's a Panic Raider. We also have 2 Magmatars in hand. That could be potentially helpful, depending on where they place them. Alright, that's just a Ironheart Thane. Not too worried about that. So one of the heavies I think can go. Put out a Cyclopean Giant. And I think we just zap that Panic Raider. Because if they have another Rush Minion, that could be a problem. Then we have a couple copies of Magmatar we could use. So we're trying to keep the path clear right now for that Cyclopean Giant. And hopefully we draw into an Extract Life. Soak up some damage. Alright, Frecky Huntress. Perfect. So let's get in for 7 on the opponent. And then, actually, I think what we do is we just play out the Magmatar. Because that will get rid of the Frecky Huntress, and then if the Thane tacks into it, it will get killed. So I think that's what we do here is we'll just play out the Magmatar. And we'll say go. So we have the Extract Life if need be. Alright, that's not going to be enough to keep the Thane alive. So we'll make that trade. Strigoi Pup. So we can get in for another 7. What do we want to do about the pup, though? I think we just detain and deport it. Because that'll bounce back to their hand. That'll stop them for a turn. I think that's what we need to do. Just need to detain it. And then if they play it back out, we can just extract life. Gain a bunch of life off of it. And deport it. Let's get in for 7 more on the opponent. Just keep beating them down with the giant. And I think we say go. So our opponent's digging for something here. Alright, they play out the Strigoi Pup again. Really don't want them gaining life at this point. All right, that's a trapezist. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to burn the Frecky Huntress, play out Magmatar, then we'll ignition this, get in for 7 more, put the opponent down to 3, and we'll say go. We also have the Extract Life to move something out of the way so we can get in for lethal. I think we're in pretty good shape. Unless they have a whole bunch of Rush minions in hand. Alright, that's not going to do it. Tailroot Worm. That's at 6 life. Yep, we can get rid of that. Use the Extract Life. Get in for lethal. And that is the game. Alright, so we were just kind of able to outclass the aggro deck. We had plenty of removal. We had some good answers, so able to beat up on the blue-red rush. That's what you want to be able to do with a good mid-range deck. Get a couple of missions done. Alright, let's hop into another one here. See how we do. With a good mid-range deck, you want to be able to be aggressive against control. Be a little more controlling against the aggro decks. And there we were a little bit controlling. I mean, we were able to bounce stuff. We had the rewind hex, detained. We had some good removal. So, alright, this hand's serviceable. I think Wake the Bones can go. We're not going to need that for a little bit. So, put that in the Boneyard, say go. Nice to get another red source. If I could play out both wings, that'd be a lot of fun. Okay, recruit. So this is going to be a pretty grindy matchup. This usually doesn't play a whole lot of enchantments. Well, it's red-orange mid-range. Probably won't need this for a while yet, so I think the Rewind Hex can actually go. Put out Gallows Boy. Yeah, I think we have to make the trade here early. Say go. So if we don't make these trades, the opponent's just going to kind of swarm the board. In theory, anyway. Alright, what do I want? I think one of the heavies can go. I'm still hoping we can draw into another red. That way I have a second wings of Abaddon. But I'll put a Gallows Boy in front of their token. So if they want to spend their mana to power up their token, just take out Gallows Boy. I'm perfectly fine with that. Next turn we'll be drawing 2, so hopefully we'll get that second red source. I can start smacking them down with wings. Dark Passenger, Shadowvar. Alright, they'll trade that way. And Frecky Huntress. I think that can go. It's not very good against Shadowvar. I'd rather be able to get these wings online, so let's play out Wings of Abaddon. Get in for 4. So you go. Now, if the opponent wants to try and race us, that's fine. So we have a couple of tricks up our sleeve. Plus we have a Raid the Tombs to refresh our hand. So I'm going to be honest, so this is going to be a tough match to win. Especially if they get one of their enchantments down. So we don't have anything to really exile. Rewind Hex is only a temporary solution. Alright, that's Pride of Place. Sign of Pride, rather. Pride of Place is the token it generates. Do I want to Raid the Tombs? Yeah, I think I do. Let's see what we can get. Gamiune. Crimson Pact. Need another red for the pack, though. Well, first let's get in for 4. That's a definite yes. I mean, I'll be honest here. Do I even worry about it? I don't think I'm too worried because I can play another wings next turn. Alright, let's just raid the tombs. We'll burn that. And say go. That was probably the wrong play on my part. Yep, I'm gonna get punished.
Hey there.
I really... I mean, we have the detained to bounce stuff, but the problem is detained is really not good against these red-orange mid-range decks. They just get way too much value out of pretty much everything that they have. Could really use another red. Just not really getting them this game, so... Yeah, I probably played this one very poorly, but all signs are pointing to us being kind of licked here. I don't have another minion to feed to the wings, so... Yeah, we're kind of getting choked out on red. So I think I just burn a Gamioon. I think we'll just use the wings, crash that into Sign of Pride. Because if we put a blocker in front of it, it's just going to use the Pride of Place token. And here it's probably going to use it to pump up one of its minions, probably the Recruiter. Get him for a little extra damage. But we'll see what the opponent has. Maybe I got a little greedy holding on to both wings early on. That might have been my downfall. This is like the 3rd or 4th game I played with this deck, so I don't know what I'm doing with it yet. I just put this together this morning. Yeah, our opponent's just kind of running us over. Now Crimson Pact's looking like a really bad idea. Magnetar would have been nice. But of course we didn't get it because that's the way it's been going this game. Well, I can put out the Volclove Heavy. We get a 2 for 1 here. Alright, say go. And this is an example of why red-orange mid-range is pretty much the mid-range deck on the ladder. It's just so versatile in what it does. Yep, extract life. That's going to be game. Our opponent won. That's good. Thumbs up. Well played by the opponent. And that's the problem. Like, this red-orange mid-range just kind of pushes out all the other mid-range decks on the ladder. Because it just kind of outclasses them. It does everything you want in a mid-range deck. In other mid-range decks like this one, it's just very tough to compete because everything's just good value. Like, even if we bounce stuff, you know, they have rush minions, they have cards like Sign of Pride, which give the Pride of Place token, so even bouncing stuff wouldn't have been very good. And I probably played that one badly. I'm going to be honest about that. I probably should have burned the wings earlier. Had the second red source, but as it turns out, we just kind of got choked on red sources, so oh well. Hopefully we'll get a better matchup in this game. If we ever find one. Alright, here we go. Let's see what we got. Veterinary is our opponent. It's like some kind of rainbow aggro deck. I mean, not a great hand, but not bad either. Actually, it is kind of bad, because we have a 1, we don't have a 2, we have a 3, we don't have a 4. Oh, we have Gamayune. And that's a K9, so... Okay, let's see if we can beat a K9 deck. We'll burn the Wake the Bones, play out Grinning Kolobok.
Surprise!
Pass the turn. So I'm definitely going to want to keep that Magmatar. Because Magmatar is just a nightmare for these K9 decks. Alright, they'll get in for 2. It's another Kolobok. Would have been nice to have something to do. But I think the Extract Life can go. Play out the other Kolobok. So we're just going to ramp our mana here. So go. Okay, Volkov Veteran. That's the one that pumps after takes damage, right? Yep. Alright. So we'll hop over with this. Hop over with this. Burn the Panic Raider. And what do I want to do with this Huntress? I think we just put it out in space, to be honest. I think I actually just want to attack into here. And this one can at least block, it'll empower it, but my plan is next turn to be able to play the Magmatar. We'll at least get a 2 for 1. Alright, we'll play the Huntress over here.
Show your throat.
And let's say go. So next turn, it's going to be play out Magmatar. We'll 2 for 1 him. I don't know that I've ever seen a rainbow build for K9s before. That's something kind of new. Alright, so that won't take any damage, so it won't get empowered. Okay. So we're down to 11. Alright, Raid Tombs, that could come in handy. So let's burn the Gamayune. Play out Magmatar right in the middle of them. Alright, get in for 2. And next turn, I can burn a card, play out 7-Ring Ritual. So let's pass the turn. And that has armor 1, so they'll trade if they run into each other. But ramping really helped here. Right, Junkyard Valhalla. Probably going to be a little too late. It's going to bring back Pat Trooper. Nothing I'm too worried about. So they'll make a trade. They've got an empty board, and we're about to drop 7-Ring Ritual? Holy cow. Okay, well, we'll burn a card. We'll burn the Raid the Tombs. So I don't think we're going to need it. We'll get in for 2. And let's play a Ritual. they have Thunderclap or something like that, or Magnus, there goes our fun. There goes our entire board, but I think it's worth taking a shot here. It's kind of one of those either you got it or you don't kind of moments for the opponent. Either you got an answer or you don't. Plus, if they play something Ruslan's Blight, we have the Rewind Hex to just bounce it back into the hand. That's a Sea Haven. So, definitely not going to be able to play Thunderclap or Magnus. Okay, let's Volclav Point Man. That's getting bounced. Cyclopean Giant's good. For now, we'll just Rewind Hex that Point Man. Bounce that back. And then just hit him with all our little minions here. Not quite lethal. But we'll play Cyclopean Giant as well. The opponent's holding their breath, hoping we don't have something. And let's end the turn. So they draw the Sea Haven. We just put it back on top of their deck. So they're not going to get anything too useful this turn. Plus we have the Crimson Pact to move something out of our way so we can just win. But again, if one of those is a Magnus that they didn't play out or a Thunderclap, which I would think they would have. So I think we've got this one in the bag. And Volclav Heavy, it's not going to save him. Speedway, also not going to save him. So I think we'll just crash into this with our Giant. And then get in for the last bit of damage. And that's the game. So we beat the Canine deck. Here you saw us ramp. Just get out our top end very quickly. And our opponent just didn't have a good answer for it. So able to close that one out fairly quickly. And I think I'm just going to stop it. We'll keep it short here today. I don't want to run into a longer video like some of my more recent ones have been. So, red-green mid-range, budget deck. If you're looking to play mid-range, red-green I think is the way to go. A little bit different than some of the other mid-range decks out there. In that we have really kind of an interesting mix of minions and spells. Because one of the ideas of the deck is just to get a big threat like Cyclopean Giant or your Volclav Heavy, and then we have spells like Detained, which can bounce stuff. We have Firestorm Prodigy, give us a removal. We have Extract Life. We just have all different ways to kind of keep the path clear in front of some of our larger minions. We also have some Agile in there too, with the Fated Firebird and the Gamma-Yuns that can get around opponents' minions. So, and it also doesn't have the Rush package in it. No Daring Trapezist. I mean, that's something that, if you want to try it out, would make sense in here as well. So, yeah, overall, this is, I'd say, a pretty decent little mid-range deck. It's very budget-friendly. I'm not going to say it's the most powerful one, but, again, as long as you have something that can win consistently early on the ladder, bronze, silver, I think you'll do well with this deck. But once you get up in the upper tier, certainly the red-orange mid-range kind of takes over. It's all over the ladder. It is the most popular deck on the ladder. And red-orange mid-range just has a very good long game plan. But you saw in here we have a couple good finishers, especially the Seven Ring Ritual. So overall, this is a solid little deck. If you're looking to get in the mid-range, I think this is a good one to try out first. Red-green is a nice combination of colors that I don't think it's played nearly enough. So that's going to be it for me today. I will be back on Thursday with yet another ladder time. And as always, I would appreciate if you hit the like and subscribe button. Subscribe to my Twitter as well. I'll leave a link for that below too, as well as a link for the deck in the description. So you can check it out, try this out for yourself. But that's going to be it for me today. So I will see you guys next time.